Thank you.
Thank you.
And our last submission for the day, William Stewart. Good afternoon.
Hi guys. So, I'm going to start with what we already know. I believe that I live in the best city in New Zealand, and given that New Zealand is one of the best countries in New Zealand and best countries in the world, that probably makes us the best city. Yet it's easy to rest on our laurels or assume that someone else will fix our problems or get stuck in the minutiae of the day-to-day. So I want to challenge you for the next few minutes. I want to live in a city of the future, one that recognises the reality of climate change and creates policy designed to reduce our carbon footprint, our environmental impact, and encourages a fairer society with equal opportunity wherever possible. I don't want our city leaders to say that problems are too hard or for central government. I want you to be explorers pushing those boundaries, and I want you to be thieves stealing amazing policy from other cities around the world.
Happy to do that.
And challenging what is possible. I want us to be at the forefront of local government politics and seize the culture of radical change that earthquakes have energised our city with. That we can be innovative and experimental, not just in our public spaces, but in our culture and politics. I'm proud that we're targeting to become carbon neutral by 2030, but we can do more. We should not be afraid to set difficult goals, for trying and failing is how we do more than we know we can. The long-term plan absolutely needs to include specific climate migration projects, but beyond that, we as a city should consider how we can lead from the front in efforts for climate change. We are already powered by 100% renewable energy. We already have a car sharing scheme of 100 electric cars. What else can we do to push that envelope and lead the way to a sustainable future? In considering a fuel tax, I want to talk to you about what it means to incentivise change. A fuel tax isn't just a way to gather funds, but it's also a way to solve other problems. We need to consider the wider ramifications of these options. A fuel tax needs to be seen not just as a vehicle of revenue, but as a way to transition to desired outcomes. Fuel taxes can be a lever to reduce air pollution, reduce congestion, and incent the type of travel that is better for our city, such as cycling, public transport, and electric vehicles. People often mistake suggestions such as these as being a tax burden, but I want to highlight how they can make us richer, how our entire country can benefit from forward thinking. It's clear that a fuel tax will help raise funds, but you have to include in the discussion the requirements of funding better solutions and incenting the choice towards this better future. By understanding how we want our transport to be, we will be better placed to transition there. A local fuel tax must not unfairly affect lower income families. We need our public transport to provide a genuine and viable transport choice, and it should be a competitive option for the majority of our citizens. This means that we need bus priority measures, turn up and go frequencies, and passenger amenities. We need to complete our cycling network and continue to remedy the century-long prioritisation of private vehicles over pedestrians and cyclists. We're lucky to have an electric car share scheme in the form of Yugo to aid private users who otherwise don't need a car. Car sharing fills in those gaps not serviced by public transport. We should look at how services like these can lessen the need for private vehicles and encourage the use of those and plan for them in our transport plans. Finally, for those who aren't serviced by the above, we should encourage electric vehicle usage as the best means of transport to reduce our carbon emissions and improve our air quality. Here we can invest in public education, charging infrastructure, which I understand we're already doing, and encouraging adoption. Every council vehicle purchase should be EV first unless there is an exceptional reason, just like the current government policy. When considering the entire pyramid of transport needs, the previous should be the specific actions that we take in concert with the fuel tax for the best outcome for all. Building on this discussion, a tax on carbon usage, increasing landfill prices, and encouraging local businesses to transition away from disposable cutlery, containers, cups, single-use bags will further enable us to transform from an unsustainable throwaway culture and reduce our environmental impact. We can use these funds raised to incentivise better recycling efforts and reduce wastage. In an age where our water rights are under attack, where fresh potable water is increasingly at risk and companies seek to profit from what has always been a public resource, we must call for volume-based water pricing, especially on water used for export, similar to the way that Auckland does. A water tax could be revenue neutral, but pay for our future water infrastructure needs, particularly wastewater management and environmental restoration. This requires legislative change, but we must start the conversation now. Going on to transport, in terms of transport commitments specifically, we must reject the delayed completion of the Christchurch cycle routes and cycle networks and affirm continued commitment to the 2022 date of the previous LTP. We must always choose pathways that will hasten towards our carbon neutral goals. We need to spend the additional $90 million to complete the cycle network and benefit from the urban cycleways 50% plus a co-payment. I'm also in support of the proposal to change street lighting to LEDs. We should also take advantage of the current political climate where 2 of the 3 parties in government have campaigned on commuter rail in Christchurch. If we don't start this conversation now, then we run the risk of missing out on these campaign promises. And so I ask you to get that conversation started as well. We should continue supporting schemes such as YouGoShare and Nextbike, who provide excellent transport options for all the public. I commend the Council on the uptake of an electric vehicle car share scheme and a reduction of the Council's fossil fuel fleet. And I urge the Council to continue to fund electric vehicle infrastructure and conversion of the Council and associated entities' vehicles to electric alternatives. I applaud the pedestrianisation of our city centre with laneways and the 30k zone and ask for a continual focus on pedestrian comfort, accessibility and safety going forward. Finally, regarding facilities, I question the wisdom of spending big on a football stadium. I feel like there are more important funding needs for $250 million, and I'd hope that any decision to go ahead was based on overwhelming public support. In any case, it should absolutely be below the priority of reducing our contribution to climate change and giving our city better transport options. I'm not here today to tell you anything that you don't already know, but just to add to the chorus for a better future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I was actually thinking, round of applause. Since there's no one else here now, we'll give you the round of applause. But I was thinking about your submission when I was reading. I'm on a City Lab email, and they sent me Atlantic, sort of news articles and things like this. But they're running a series at the moment about bus, and they use Seattle, which is our sister city, and that's why I was thinking of you this morning, because they've increased their population since 2007 by 15%. Downtown private vehicle usage has declined by 10% in the same period, and that's because they've really invested in their bus network, and they talk about how it's a vicious cycle with cuts to schedules and routes, and then that leads to declining bus ridership, feeds the narrative that transit is a waste of money. More people take to their cars and Ubers, traffic gets worse and the buses run slower, repeat. Yeah, so, that's why I was thinking about you this morning when I was reading this article. So thank you very much for your submission. And I think we'll end the day with a round of applause for you.
Yeah, I had a bit more time to...
Yeah, could you email it through? That would be really useful. Thank you. I'm sure it will be quoted in some of the debates that we have. Yeah.
I'll table that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The PowerPoint is there. All right, so thank you everyone, and it is a Saturday afternoon. I'm going to let you go. Did you have something urgent that you needed to say?
Just on your Seattle numbers, the thing you missed out is their population density is 20 times ours per square mile. So next time we vote on apartments going in around key sites, let's push for more. Right. Push for more density.
Very good. Okay, so I shall adjourn this meeting until Monday, the 14th of May at 1 p.m. Thank you.